The discipline of archaeology is constantly unearthing artifacts from the past, shedding light on the evolution of mankind's society. Despite extensive research and inquiry, several discoveries from excavations have left researchers baffled, while others have provided insight into the puzzles of our forebears. These mysterious relics make us question our assumptions about the distant past and pique our interest in the strange. In this video, we will look into 10 of the world's most perplexing stuff from archaeology, many of which still haven't been adequately explained by experts. 10. The unique styled Brimham rocks. It was hard to believe that Mother Nature had organized the Brimham rocks in Yorkshire, England, so precisely and intricately. It was rumored that prehistoric druids had stacked them for a long time, leading researchers to question whether or not individuals from the Stone Age could accomplish such a feat. Some people still think druids were responsible, although the scientific consensus is that they arose on their own, around 75,000 years back. A vast iceberg melted in the last ice age, creating ripples and waves in the rocks. Both precipitation and wind have sculpted and highlighted these canyons and grooves in stones over hundreds of thousands of years. The stone walls are open to hikers, but only fearless and competent people should attempt the rocky slopes and complicated patterns. 9. The 2,300-year-old cursed jar. Here is a cursed jar from ancient Athens, Greece, which dates back some 2,300 years and is operated uniquely. There are scribbled writings across its exterior, and inside lie the painstakingly fragmented remains of a chicken. The transcribed passage comprises a curse that, if carried out, will cause the paralysis or death of 55 people in Athens. Athenians are used to seeing curse pills, but cursed jugs are more unusual. The curse on this jar was sealed when its anonymous possessor sealed it with a huge iron nail hammered into it. Researchers think the curse was probably inscribed by the victim in an imminent court scenario, as odd as that may sound. Since hearings were frequent in ancient Athens, a defendant could have tried to influence the testimony of friends, family, and associates to obtain an edge in court. 8. Whistling stones of the Romans. The Romans' unparalleled achievement as an armed force during their heyday could have been partly attributed to their psychological tactics. They weren't content with a mere physical victory over you. They also sought to shatter you psychologically. Approximately 1,800 years back, they utilized whistling stones, which had been created to produce a loud noise as they raced into the breeze at you, as an example of their unorthodox weaponry. In August of 2021, a group in Lockerbie, Scotland, came across a collection of whistling rocks. Every stone had a series of small holes punched in it, and these had a double purpose. Firstly, they would have a pressing influence on contact, making damages more severe. And second, they would generate an awful sound as dozens of them whizzed across the air at once. It is reported that the local Scottish tribes were frightened by the commotion as they faced the Romans in the area of battle. It's clear that those stones are a holdover from the combat there. 7. The Killer Stick Monument. Because of its uncertain look, the Killer Stick statue unearthed in southeastern Turkey in 1965 became the subject of dispute among historians. An extended head, several arms and palms, and a lack of distinguishable facial traits give the statue a humanoid appearance. The sculpture has an odd aspect, but it was made with careful focus on specifics involving intricate engravings. Some scholars have theorized that the artwork depicts a shaman or a divinity, whereas others have speculated that it shows an inherited condition. The unexpected discovery of the statue has prompted an argument on the artistic expression of physical differences and their societal importance. The Killer Stick sculpture may be puzzling, but it is an instructive example of the wide variety of old aesthetic styles. Turkey's Adıyaman Museum is where you may see the statue right now. 6. The development of dragon houses. If dragons weren't real, why did the ancient Greeks construct castles for them? It's a rhetorical query, but many Greeks are convinced that the strange remains on the southern side of the island of Euboea were explicitly built to contain the legendary monsters. Megalithic buildings were constructed using only lentils and jellies as adhesives rather than mortar. Even with all these pebbles piled on top of one another, the entryway is strong. The scientific community is at a loss to explain how the prehistoric builders even got the vast rocks where they are now. Each dragon dwelling has an elongated entrance in the roof, which is likely how the dragons entered and exited, but this only adds to the intrigue. Unlike in other parts of ancient Greece, there is no documentation of the building of the dragon homes. 5. The engravings of a water buffalo. Before now, we have only considered Europe as a possible location for artistic production during the last interglacial period. But in March 2020, a groundbreaking discovery was made in Indonesia. A group of explorers discovered 2 water buffalo carvings and a sun symbol carved onto a pebble in Liang Bulu Boot Cave. They are the very first instances of their sort ever to be unearthed anywhere other than in Europe, and it is speculated that they were initially put into use 20,000 years earlier. The carvings depict a Nwa buffalo, which are a native species of the place, and are characterized by their diminutive size and water buffalo-like appearance. It's time to get over the conceit that ancient Western Europeans were the initial people to use art for self-expression. 4. The sudden appearance of the Lady of Elka statue. Nightly, in 1897, a sculpture mysteriously emerged on an exclusive property in Valencia, Spain, where it has since become referred to as the Lady of Elka. She was not there that day before her discovery. No one can explain how she reached there. The statue's pristine state led some to speculate that it was made recently and given as a present. However, this hypothesis was swiftly disproved by experts who examined the piece. The statue was initially intended as a burial urn, and inside it is the ashes of a person who died around 2500 BC. The sculpture is also approximately that old, which raises an intriguing issue of where its location has been for the past 2400 years. It is currently on exhibit in Madrid, where numerous urban legends and myths have developed in relation to it. It is said that staring at its oddly penetrating eyes for a prolonged period will drive a person nuts. 3. The Pueblo Indian blanket. The inhabitants of Pueblo considered turkeys to be a precious commodity. These birds' meat and feathers would be helpful in the kitchen and the textile industry. A Pueblo Indian blanket constructed with little more than 11,000 turkey plumes dating back 800 years was found. According to research, all the turkeys used to make this blanket had their feathers clipped while they were still living. Mass graves of turkeys have been uncovered during investigations at the spot of the find. However, organic factors took their toll on the turkeys. The prevailing opinion is that they were left living solely to grow feathers and then have those feathers removed regularly. There was likely a ritual component to the mass graves. Despite its age, this blanket dates to the 12th century, when turkey consumption became widespread. 2. The woman's false teeth. Today, body alteration is just as common as it was 1600 years before in Mexico. Evidence for this comes from the 2016 discovery of a female skeleton near the Teotihuacan remains in Mexico City. Many of the unidentified woman's teeth have been extracted and substituted with artificial teeth composed of serpentine and pyrite. Researchers believe she was a high-ranking member of society when she died in the 4th century and was cremated then. They decided because the pressure was used to lengthen her head artificially, a procedure traditionally meant for royalty. Curiously, prior records of skull alteration only come from territories controlled by other ancient Mexican and Central American empires, not the Aztec territory. How her false teeth were attached to her mouth is a mystery. 1. A brand fresh pigment. About 4,100 years previously, ancient Egyptians developed a revolutionary new colorant. The color, now known as Egyptian blue, was created to be used as the crown jewels on a statue of Nefertiti. There's no telling if the chemical who invented it ever understood the implications of their work. If used correctly, The vivid hue of blue can cut energy consumption and boost solar energy production. A group of German scientists employed Egyptian blue to develop cutting-edge nanosheets for infrared photography in 2020. The material, a calcium copper silicate, is credited with being one of the earliest artificial colors made by humans. That's all for today. Do you want to find the next archaeological discovery? Then buy a metal detector at the International Detector Center. Do you love discovering history? If yes, then our channel is a treasure trove of knowledge, experiences, and discoveries. Now hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming up.